Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlights a danger of digital arrest in his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat.
रुको, बाद में सोचो और फिर एक्शन लो। ये 3 चरण आपकी डिजिटल सुरक्षा का रक्षक बनेंगे।
Georgia's ruling party, Georgian Dream, claims crucial win in parliamentary election, secures over 54% votes. Opposition calls results constitutional coup. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says Israel chose targets in Iran based on its national interests, not on US instructions. In sports, rivals Arsenal and Liverpool clash in Premier League tonight. India has been gripped by 1,000 cases of digital arrest scams involving affluent and educated. And in a country with nearly 700 million smartphone users, the rate of cybercrimes has skyrocketed. In his monthly program Mann Ki Baat address, Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlighted steps for digital safety. He also encouraged using hashtag #SafeDigitalIndia on social media to raise awareness about cybersecurity.
The digital arrest scam is a rising threat in India, with scammers using fear tactics to exploit victims. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his address, introduced 3 essential steps for digital safety, urging everyone to remain vigilant.
पहले चरण में मैंने कहा रुको, दूसरे चरण में मैंने कहा सोचो और तीसरा चरण कहता हूं एक्शन लो। राष्ट्रीय साइबर हेल्पलाइन 1930 डायल करें। cybercrime.gov.in पर रिपोर्ट करें। परिवार और पुलिस को सूचित करें। सबूत सुरक्षित रखें। रुको, बाद में सोचो और फिर एक्शन लो। ये 3 चरण आपकी डिजिटल सुरक्षा का रक्षक बनेंगे।
Prime Minister Modi emphasized that both the central and state governments are working together to combat these cyber crimes. He highlighted the establishment of the National Cyber Coordination Center to enhance coordination among government agencies and appeal to the public to help spread awareness.
डिजिटल अरेस्ट के नाम पर जो फरेब चल रहा है, उससे निपटने के लिए तमाम जांच एजेंसियां राज्य सरकारों के साथ मिलकर काम कर रही है। इन एजेंसियों में तालमेल बनाने के लिए नेशनल साइबर कोऑर्डिनेशन सेंटर की स्थापना की गई है। डिजिटल अरेस्ट के नाम पर हो रहे स्कैम से बचने के लिए बहुत जरूरी है हर किसी की जागरूकता। आप जागरूकता के लिए #SafeDigitalIndia का प्रयोग कर सकते हैं।
Prime Minister Modi urged school and college administrations to involve students in this awareness drive. He encouraged sharing information related to cyber safety through social media. He appealed to all sections of society to come together and join the mission to prevent cyber fraud. Bureau Report, DD India.
Worldwide, many aspire to learn about India's cultural elements. Prime Minister Modi encouraged everyone to share posts about India's cultural initiatives on social media.
कुछ हफ्ते पहले मैं लाओस भी गया था। वो नवरात्रि का समय था और वहाँ मैंने कुछ अद्भुत देखा। स्थानीय कलाकार फलक फलम प्रस्तुत कर रहे थे, लाओस की रामायण। इसी तरह कुवैत में श्री अब्दुल्ला अल बारून ने रामायण और महाभारत का अरबी में अनुवाद किया है। पेरू से एक और प्रेरक उदाहरण है एर्लिंदा गार्सिया। वहाँ के युवाओं को भारतनाट्यम सिखा रही है और मारिया वाल्देस ओडिसी नृत्य का प्रशिक्षण दे रही है। इन कलाओं से प्रभावित होकर दक्षिण अमेरिका के कई देशों में भारतीय शास्त्रीय नृत्य की धूम मची हुई है। इसलिए आप सभी से एक अनुरोध भी है, अपने आसपास ऐसी सांस्कृतिक पहल को #कल्चरल ब्रिजेस के साथ साझा कीजिए।
PM Modi said India will be celebrating the 150th birth anniversary of Sardar Patel and Bhagwan Birsa Munda.
31 अक्टूबर से सरदार पटेल का 150वीं जन्म जयंती का वर्ष शुरू होगा। इसके बाद 15 नवंबर से भगवान बिरसा मुंडा का 150वां जन्म जयंती वर्ष शुरू होगा। इन दोनों महापुरुष ने अलग अलग चुनौतियां देखी, लेकिन दोनों का विजन एक था, देश की एकता।
Spanish President Pedro Sanchez will arrive in India for an official visit until 29th of October. During the visit, President Sanchez will hold delegation-level talks with Prime Minister Modi. The two leaders will inaugurate the final assembly line plant of C-295 aircraft at Vadodara, a flagship Make in India initiative in the aviation sector, which is being set up by Tata Advanced Systems in collaboration with Airbus Spain. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi and President Sanchez met several times on the sidelines of multilateral meetings. The visit of the President of Spain is taking place after 18 years, and this is the first visit of President Sanchez to India. President Sanchez will also visit Mumbai, where he will interact with trade and industry leaders, think tanks and the film industry. A number of MOUs and agreements are expected to be signed during the visit, which will boost bilateral cooperation between the two countries. In Japan, voting is underway for parliamentary elections that will determine the next Prime Minister. The vote is regarded as an early referendum on the newly established administration of Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, who called snap polls after assuming his post on October 1st. The election also marks the first nationwide vote since a wide-ranging slush fund scandal rocked the LDP, dominating the political debate over the past year. PM Ishiba's conservative LDP, in government for almost all of the post-war era, has had a majority in the lower house of parliament since 2012, ruling in coalition with Komeito, on which it depends to control the less powerful upper house. Opinion polls suggest the conservative LDP and its junior coalition partner risk falling short of a majority, a result that could deal a knockout blow to Ishiba. And DD correspondent Anil Thomas is joining us with more details on this from New Delhi. Hi Anil, the LDP has ruled Japan for many years and holds a majority in the 465-seat lower house with its long-time coalition partner Komeito. Toughest electoral challenge in more than a decade for the party. How do you analyze it, Anil?
Well, good evening, Siddhartha. That's exactly right. The last time that we had seen especially the constitutional democratic, that's the opposition front that one sees in Japan, topple the liberal democratic, that's the present day order, was way back in 2009. This time around, the magic number that one is looking is 233. Snap ordered there by Ishiba. A gamble, many would say, that Ishiba is taken. But when the perspective in which he's taken, this is in a series of scandals, unpopularity that the Liberal Democratic Party is in, a situation that he would have liked somehow, where he would have got a little more time to do things. But I think the people's impatience, especially when it comes to rising inflation, the cleaning of the house, especially when it comes to the party, that's not, that's so under Ishiba's tenure. All these things, he had to weigh his options. 2009, we had seen a similar kind of a situation where the opposition managed to topple the government.
Okay.
The fears are almost similar with this election, but I think Ishiba had one coalition partner in the government. Once the numbers are out, he could be in a tricky situation. The popularity charts indicate that he's almost lost 3%.
Yeah.
Last 10 days, the party's Democrat and also the ratings have fallen very sharply. there is a likelihood that his party, which has close to 247 seats in the present parliament, is likely to lose 2 seats. His other coalition partner is likely to lose close to 10 seats. So in that situation, the only likable option in a post-poll alliance could be, get more coalition partners into play. And I think that's something that Ishiba would be looking forward to. But when you get more partners on the table, I feel that a political force needs to make. And I think that's something that they are trying to overcome. But for that, we'll have to wait for the numbers to come. But surely tough times there for the Liberal Democratic. When talking about a similar situation to 2009, but I think at this point of time, the Liberal Democratic, those snap polls being ordered, and snap polls whenever ordered, the likelihood of the option that opposition party has is very difficult. In this case, if you look at Japan and the rating number surely dropping, but you look at the surveys that have come out, it indicates that none of the above opposition or all the other opposition parties still don't have the numbers of cobbling things up, and that's where I think the Liberal Democratic can breathe easy. But this particular election will go down to the wire and surely will be a great shake-up, especially for Ishiba and his political party.
Definitely, and it'll go down to the wire. Anil, some political pundits are already saying that even in the worst-case scenario, the LDP, will be safe somehow. So, is that true? I mean, what is the scenario? If you could just explain us.
Why this particular talk is, just putting the geopolitical situation into perspective, why Japan's elections are very much of interest to the world. First, the geopolitical situation developing across the world. Second, Japan's constant threat with China, the way China is developing. Also the crippling, the inflation that Japan has been trying to somehow, keep it under check. And, the last 1 month post the time that Ishiba had come over, the Bank of Japan was able to build or rather breathe a bit easy in the last 15 to 20 days. There was a lot of money that was being pumped to the Chinese and Japanese market. And that was something that, the people there were looking good. And that's why, this particular snap polls, if you put that together, the economy is looking better. Gave him that confidence that he should press the button of going for a snap election. And, he's looking at that option. But having said that, the factors that have followed him and the situation he presently is in, when the numbers are put into perspective, he had close to 259 seats when the election got over in the last elections. That's come down to 247. The numbers, when it comes to poll analyst surveys that have been carried out, don't indicate something. Indicate close to more than 50 seats that the party could lose. So surely it's about getting more coalition partners and how we can get like-minded people to come together to run the government. But, juxtapose it with the last time that, the opposition had managed to topple the Liberal Democratic or the force that has been in power. That happened 15 years ago. So I would say that the situation looks grim from a perspective of anybody watching Japanese elections. He could sneak home, if he manages to get close to 200 seats, or even for that matter, 180 to 200 seats that the party can manage. I think the coalition partners will come on board, and that's where he's hoping that Ishiba, along with Fumio Kishida, the former prime minister, they can come together and get those forces together to form the government. It looks very much possible for the Liberal Democratic, but I think it's the challenge. The bigger challenge is for the opposition. Because they are not the favorites to win, not because there is no alternative as such in Japan. So, the problem of, there being no alternative is actually not an option when somebody goes out to vote. You would look at, okay, a Liberal Democratic, what's the alternative that I have? When the other alternative doesn't look good, you automatically come back to the Liberal Democratic. I think that's what Ishiba is looking for long. He's hopeful and anticipating that the people would back him, though the numbers could be less, but he surely thinks that he crossed the line.
Definitely, we'll have to wait and see, Anil, in whose favor the magic number goes. But you very well explained the scenario of the Japan election. Thank you so much. We'll leave it there. And US presidential race remains very tight, with Vice President Kamala Harris and presidential candidate of Republican Party Donald Trump ramping up their efforts to secure votes in the 7 battleground states. DD India correspondent Amrit Pal Singh reports from Houston in Texas.
Increasingly unhinged and unstable.
Kamala Harris once again calling out Donald Trump for becoming increasingly deranged. Donald Trump has called her a threat to democracy.
She's a threat to democracy because she shouldn't even be the candidate.
The political narrative as sharply divided as the American society polarized.
As far as I'm concerned, there's only one issue, and it's to get rid of Donald Trump. I feel he is the most destructive force on this planet at this time. Giving him the nuclear codes would be the biggest mistake U.S. ever made.
She's not answered a single question. In fact, she runs from every question she's ever asked. So she'd be terrible. How could she stand up against Putin if she can't even stand up against a reporter that's on her side?
The key issue to me is ensuring that Donald Trump not take office. I'm extremely concerned about his fascist tendencies, and I think we have to do everything we can as a nation to uphold democracy and defeat him.
While American society may seem divided right from the middle this time around, most American states have traditionally voted on predicted lines. The terms red state and blue state refer to U.S. states whose voters vote predominantly for one party, the Republican Party in the red states and the Democratic Party in blue states, in presidential and other statewide elections. By contrast, states where the vote fluctuates between Democratic and Republican candidates are known as swing states or purple states. In these elections, there are 7 states that are swing or battleground states, which includes the states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. And understandably, both candidates are focusing their energies campaigning in these states, making a last-lap bid to woo the undecided voter. But is it cutting ice with them?
What are they going to do for the people when they get into office? All the claims that they make, I want to make sure that they come through with the claims. You know, Trump says he can do X, Y, Z, and doesn't do nothing.
Well, I'm not too sure about what I'm going to decide, but everything's too expensive.
Then there is the issue that is America ready for a woman president, and a colored one at that.
If there's any time that a woman's going to take over the White House and represent us worldwide, it's now.
While issues like cost of living, economy, jobs, women's rights, abortion, etc. do matter to people, but it's often seen that on the voting day, most Americans cast their vote based on partisan loyalties. And that is why you see the states that have been red or blue continue to remain so. In such a scenario, when the race is so tight, it is really the undecided voter, especially the purple states, which could swing either way, that could decide who will sit in the Oval Office for the next 4 years. With cameraman Sanjay Jaina, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Houston, Texas.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. Russia's air defense unit destroy at least 30 Ukrainian drones overnight. World leaders calling for calm in West Asia.
Who will be the next president of United States of America?
Will Donald Trump make a dramatic comeback, or will Kamala Harris become America's first woman president?
It's a tight race to the White House.
The knives are out and the battle lines sharply drawn.
He's becoming increasingly unstable and unhinged.
She's a threat to democracy because she shouldn't even be the candidate.
I'm Amritpal Singh.
I'm Shubhendu Ghosh.
We travel across the United States
to decode the issues at the heart of this polarized election.
Watch this space only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Georgia's ruling party, Georgian Dream, has won a decisive victory in the parliamentary election with over 54% of the votes. This outcome deals a blow to the pro-Western factions, who saw the election as a pivotal choice between strengthening ties with Russia and accelerating integration with the European Union. The ruling Georgian Dream party's billionaire founder, Bidzina Ivanishvili, expressed gratitude to voters for their loyalty.
I want to express great gratitude to our beloved voters who have been following us sincerely and with such loyalty.
However, opposition leaders have contested the results, alleging falsification and refusing to recognize the outcome.
So Georgians voted for our historical choice of our ancestors, the greatest Georgian ever, and choice of our future generations. That's an European path. That's in Europe. Georgia is going to Europe. That's our most important step in after our independence, declaration of our independence. So that's a great victory. I'm very happy.
All right, and DD correspondent Amit Mukherjee joins us for more on this. Hi, good evening, Amit. How significant, first of all, tell us, how significant are these polls?
Well, Siddharth, for Georgian Dream, it is definitely a very, very significant victory, particularly at a time, when the democracy was facing the crucial test at the time of, if you look at the kind of geopolitical situation out there in Europe, it's very, very critical. So at this time, it's a very, very decisive sort of a victory as far as Georgian Dream is concerned. In fact, out of the 150 seats, it has backed about 91%, and you pointed out about 54% of the vote it has garnered. And the opposition, which is primarily a union of four parties, it has managed to gather about 37.5% vote, which is like 15% or nearly 20% is a significant margin. Now, this party has been there for the last, for the last 12 years, and since Georgian Dream has been in power since 2012, and earlier it had a more or less a sort of a liberal outlook, and it had a pro-West, which means in sync with the European Union. But for the last 2 years now, it has kind of aligned itself, not directly though, but in sync with the Russian, seat of power. However, the Prime Minister, there has been a lot of charges against, frauds which have been conducted in the elections. But however, the Election Commission of Georgia has given a clean chit to this entire process. And it's that in a statement, it said that it has been a pretty fair and free election. And it has been endorsed by the constitutional authority of Georgia, of course, which is the Election Commission. Now, again, looking back, Prime Minister Kobakidze, he has kind of said that, all these allegations are baseless. In fact, Georgia doesn't even have a diplomatic relationship with Russia. So the point of, allying with Russia doesn't really arise. However, he also has been harping on the fact that stability of his country is very, very important, along with the future of Georgians. So, he has termed it as a very, very decisive and a significant victory for his party. And from here, it'll, but however, again, the allegation from the opposition is that this party will distance itself from the European Union, which again, if you look at the democratic mandate, doesn't really matter at this point of time, because a large portion of Georgia has voted in favor of Georgian Dream. So whatever political party now decides stands for the country. Siddharth?
Definitely. Amit, you've just said that Election Commission has said that the polls which were conducted were fair, and there is nothing like voter manipulation, which the opposition party alleged. Now, they have also accused the ruling party, Amit, you were also mentioning, of steering the nation away from European Union towards Moscow. Can you explain that a little bit?
Like I said, Kobakidze, he is the Prime Minister. He kind of refuted all these claims. In fact, Siddharth, I would also like to point out all these emotions and reactions from the opposition, again, is somewhere, coming from the fact that there was a pre-poll, pre-election result, sort of a analysis which was done, exit poll, so to say, which we normally understand as exit poll. Now, which pointed at it was done by a US pollster, basically US agency, but it pointed to a very sort of a contrarian sort of an outcome. It never projected Georgian Dream to kind of emerge as a winner in this election, which is why, again, it has given a lot of ammunition to the opposition to come out with these allegations that the poll has been rigged at some point in time. And again, venting their feeling that this outcome will again distance them from the Western Union, from the European Union, more aligned with the Western ideologies and outlook. Yeah.
All right, we'll leave that. Thank you so much, Amit, for your analysis. Russian Defense Ministry said early on Sunday that the country's air defense units has destroyed at least 30 Ukrainian drones overnight. The ministry added that the drones were destroyed over Russia's southern regions of Voronezh, Bryansk, Oryol, Lipetsk and Belgorod. In the drone attack, one woman was reportedly injured and few cars were also damaged. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that Israel had chosen the targets it attacked in Iran based on its national interests, not according to what was dictated by the United States. Netanyahu's office issued a statement in response to what it referred to as a completely false local television report that Israel had avoided striking Iranian gas and oil facilities because of US pressure. The Israeli military confirmed the death of 4 soldiers in the southern Lebanon conflict zone on Sunday. Israel launches airstrikes on southern Lebanon border villages amid ongoing clashes with Hezbollah fighters in the regions. The Israeli military urged residents of 14 villages in southern Lebanon on Sunday to evacuate immediately and move north of the Awali River. World leaders have been calling for calm in West Asia. Among them is President Joe Biden, who said that Israel informed US about the strikes on Iran in advance. He also hoped that tensions wouldn't escalate further.
The reason we're a little late, I was on with the intelligence community for the last half hour, 3.5 hours. And it looks like they didn't hit anything other than military targets. My hope is this is the end.
Meanwhile, India has expressed deep concern over evolving escalation in West Asia and has called for exercising restraint. In a statement, India's Ministry of External Affairs said, and I quote, "We are deeply concerned by the evolving escalation in West Asia and its ramifications for peace and stability in the region and beyond. We reiterate a call to all concerned to exercise restraint and return to path of dialogue and diplomacy. The ongoing hostilities are to nobody's benefit, even as innocent hostages and civilian populations continue to suffer. Our mission in the region are in contact with the Indian community." Still to come on DD Indian News Hour. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami installed a 66 feet high national flag memorial at Survey Chowk, Dehradun. Dr. Jaishankar said that the disengagement of troops in Depsang and Demchok is the first step as per the agreement on October 21st.
Recycle, repair, renew. Are these cool trending terms or age-old traditions?
We started distributing the compost. The residents were really happy. It also made them understand the need for waste management, why segregation was important, because it was happening right in front of their houses.
Over the past years, we also expanded into the area of repair, and that obviously has an additional impact on saving e-waste, and that's an additional area where we see quite some potential.
The panels contain a lot of rare commodities, and you can save a lot of energy if you use recycled materials. It's also extremely important to keep those recycled materials here in Germany.
Biotanks, the sewage water gets recycled. It can be used for different purposes or drained into the ground.
You're watching DD Indian News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and a quick recap of headlines. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlights danger of digital arrest in his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says Israel choose targets in Iran based on its national interests, not on US In sports, rivals Arsenal and Liverpool clash in Premier League tonight. India is making rapid strides in the field of animation. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged people to resolve to make India a global animation powerhouse. Talking about self-reliance, Prime Minister urged people to share examples of innovation on Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India on social media.
The country is moving rapidly towards becoming self-reliant in every sector. New India is strongly facing every challenge, riding on the new slogan of Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India. Now every citizen of the country is looking at every challenge in the form of opportunity and achieving new milestones through innovation. Animation is one such sector where the country is rapidly moving ahead through the use of new technology. Due to the rapid expansion of gaming space, Indian games are gaining popularity all over the world. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, during the 115th episode of Mann Ki Baat program, urged people to resolve to make India a global animation powerhouse.
आज हमारे युवा ओरिजिनल इंडियन कंटेंट जिसमें हमारी संस्कृति की झलक होती है वो तैयार कर रहे हैं. इन्हें दुनिया भर में देखा जा रहा है. एनिमेशन सेक्टर आज एक ऐसी इंडस्ट्री का रूप ले चुका है कि जो दूसरी इंडस्ट्रीज को ताकत दे रहा है. जैसे इन दिनों VR टूरिज्म बहुत फेमस हो रहा है. इसलिए मैं भारत के युवाओं से कहूंगा, अपनी क्रिएटिविटी को विस्तार दे. क्या पता दुनिया का अगला सुपरहिट एनिमेशन आपके कंप्यूटर से निकले. इसी 28 अक्टूबर को यानी कल वर्ल्ड एनिमेशन डे भी मनाया जाएगा. आइए हम भारत को ग्लोबल एनिमेशन पावर हाउस बनाने का संकल्प लें.
Prime Minister underlined that India is doing wonders in every sector after becoming self-reliant.
आत्मनिर्भर हो रहा भारत हर सेक्टर में कमाल कर रहा है. आप सोचिए, एक जमाने में मोबाइल फोन इंपोर्ट करने वाला भारत आज दुनिया का दूसरा सबसे बड़ा मैन्युफैक्चरर बन गया है. कभी दुनिया में सबसे ज्यादा डिफेंस इक्विपमेंट खरीदने वाला भारत आज 85 देशों को एक्सपोर्ट भी कर रहा है. स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी में भारत आज चंद्रमा के साउथ पोल पर पहुंचने वाला पहला देश बना है. और एक बात तो मुझे सबसे ज्यादा अच्छी लगती है, वो ये है कि आत्मनिर्भरता का ये अभियान अब सिर्फ सरकारी अभियान नहीं है. अब आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान एक जन अभियान बन रहा है. हर क्षेत्र में उपलब्धियां हासिल कर रहे हैं.
Prime Minister urged people to share examples of innovations and Atmanirbhar Bharat on social media. He asked them to shop during this festive season with the mantra of vocal for local. Bureau Report, DD India.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar addressed the press conference in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Dr. Jaishankar said that the disengagement of troops in Depsang and Demchok is the first step as per the agreement on October 21st. He said that once the status before 2020 is restored, de-escalation would follow mutually. And lastly, India will move towards robust management of LAC.
21 अक्टूबर को जो सहमति जो बनी थी, उस सहमति इस बात पे बनी थी कि दो जगह माने देपसांग और देमचौक जो लद्दाख में सबसे सबसे नॉर्थ में है, वहाँ जो पेट्रोलिंग पे जो पहले जो बाधाएं लगी थी, अब उस पे सहमति बनी है. और उस जगह में 2020 की जो पेट्रोलिंग जो थी पहले, हमारी अपेक्षा है कि उसी पेट्रोलिंग की स्थिति में हम लोग वापस जाएंगे.
And let's take a look at other stories making news. As part of Police Commemoration Week, the Delhi Police organized a bike rally that traversed various locations across the city. The rally aimed to raise awareness among the public about new laws and regulations. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami installed a 66 feet high national flag memorial at Survey Chowk, Dehradun under the Dehradun Smart City project works to present the feeling of nationalism and patriotism among the citizens. Fourth edition of Ironman 70.3 kicked off in Goa on Sunday. The event started from Miramar Beach. Athletes faced a course consisting of 1.9 kilometers of swimming, 90 kilometers of cycling and 21.1 kilometers of running to complete the triathlon. Continuing the energy partnership and following neighborhood first policy, India handed over solar rooftop systems to various religious locations in Sri Lanka on Friday. This initiative is part of a $17 million Indian project to install solar rooftop systems across 5,000 religious institutions throughout Sri Lanka. It is designed to reduce energy expenses and support Sri Lanka's shift towards renewable energy. This effort aligns with India's neighborhood first policy with emphasis on cooperation with Sri Lankan priorities. The Indonesian theatre troupe Fantasi Tuli, or the Deaf Fantasy, performed the country's first musical with over 60 deaf actors and crew on Saturday, using screens around the stage showing dialogue and song lyrics as actors performed with their expression and hand signs. Titled Songs of Silence, the musician explores the challenges faced by students at a middle school for children with disabilities. Its goal is to raise awareness and combat the stigma surrounding sign language. The narrative delves into the state of special needs education in Indonesia, where deaf students often receive training focused more on speech and lip reading than on sign language.
My hope is going forward, inclusivity can be strengthened. That between deaf and hearing people, hearing is not superior. We are equal. Maybe in Indonesia, people see it, especially for deaf artists. It must be very difficult, and there is a stigma for people like that. But with inclusiveness, deaf and hearing people can collaborate and create more inclusive world. And I hope that inclusiveness will be in large numbers and grow.
Shansha city in China's southernmost province evacuated hundreds of residents and construction workers stationed on the Shisha Islands to safe shelters to shield them from the typhoon Trami. The Provincial Meteorological Bureau said that typhoon Trami is expected to rotate over the waters off the southern coast of Hainan and the Shisha Islands starting Sunday night. Shansha has upgraded alert for Trami from orange to red and raised the emergency response as precautionary measures.
We are deeply moved by being evacuated here and having our safety prioritized under the extreme situation.
In Nepal's capital Kathmandu, the ongoing Pobha painting exhibition showcased the rich tradition and culture of the Newar community of Nepal. The painting of Sundar Singhwal is on a month-long exhibition. Pobha painting was practiced by traditional painters as early as the 3rd century AD. The Newar traditional painters believe that Pobhas were taken to Tibet from the valley, which became a base for the development of Himalayan Buddhist devotional art known as Thangkas. A Thangka is a scroll painting from Tibet that encrypts Buddhist messages. Alright, let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Thousands of protesters marched against Lisbon's police over their use of force and racism after a week of unrest sparked by the shooting of a black man officers. Odair, a young Portuguese man, was killed by police during a traffic stop. Thousands of indigenous Mayan people in Guatemala marched on Saturday in rejection of the construction of a Santa Muerte prayer center in country, which is allegedly financed by gang members imprisoned in local jail. Over 1,500 people participated in historical reenactment of the Battle of Grolle, held in the small town of Groenlo, Netherlands. The Battle of Gruel was one of the most important battles in the 80 Years' War, in which the Spanish crown fought against the Dutch provinces in the 17th century. A reenactment takes place in Gruenlo every 2 years. Thousands of participants marched in front of Taipei City Hall on Saturday for Taiwan's annual LGBTQ+ Pride Parade, one of Asia's largest annual celebrations of inclusivity. Attendees dressed in colorful costumes walked waving flags and banners with messages of support for gender equality. And on the occasion of Infantry Day, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has in fact hailed the indomitable spirit and courage of all ranks and veterans of the infantry. In a post on X, the Prime Minister said that infantry personnel always stand resolute in the face of any adversity, ensuring the safety and security of nation, adding that the infantry embodies the essence of strength, valor and duty, inspiring every Indian. Extending his wishes to the infantry personnel, the Defence Minister said that the infantry plays a pivotal role in protecting the country. He noted that their courage, valour and sacrifice continue to inspire everyone.
Our frontiers, stoic, rugged and highly adaptable, infantry is queen of the battle, physically capturing and holding the ground. On this very day in 1947, 1st Battalion, the Sikh Regiment, here landed at Srinagar airfield and turned the tide of Pakistan invasion, integrating Jammu and Kashmir into the folds of the nation. A landmark operational achievement. This victory of Indian Army is celebrated as Shaurya Divas. Infantry continues to modernize with enhanced mobility, lethality and surveillance capability towards a singular objective of winning the war against any potential adversaries. Honoring the motto, Infantry, the ultimate. Victory is what the infantry delivers.
Indian Army is commemorating its 78th Infantry Day today. On the occasion, Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan and Chief of Army Staff General Upendra Dwivedi laid wreath at the National War Memorial. And still to come on DD India News Hour. In El Clasico, Barcelona thrashed Real Madrid 4-0 at Bernabeu. Olympic champion Qinwen Zheng wins Pan Pacific Open in Tokyo.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and time now for sport. Arsenal host Liverpool in a fixture that could impact the Premier League title race. Both teams are battling it out in the title race and will need to be at their best in this fixture. The high voltage encounter would have massive ramifications for their title hopes. Last weekend, Gunners suffered their first loss of the season at the hands of Bournemouth. Meanwhile, Liverpool can arguably think they are the informed team in the Premier League following a solid start to the season under new manager Arne Slot. Last weekend, they dispatched Chelsea at Anfield. All right, and DD India correspondent Narayan Singh joins us live for more on this fixture. Hi Narayan, Arsenal versus Liverpool. Every football fan, gets a smile on their face when they hear about this encounter, and this is going to take place with Arsenal going as underdogs. How do you analyze this encounter, Narayan?
Siddharth, it's a big match. We can say that it's too early to say, as there are only 8 matches played so far in this season, but this match will definitely have an impact on the title race, considering the fact that the way Liverpool is playing this season, so far in 8 matches they have lost only 1 match. And talking about Arsenal, they are placed 4th in the English Premier League table, and there is a gap of 4 points between Arsenal and Liverpool. But we know that right now the kind of football Liverpool is playing, that's fantastic. If they will win today's match, they will be at the top of the Premier League, and the kind of attack they have, definitely, and the defense they have, especially we can say that the credit goes to their coach Arne Slot. Under his guidance, the kind of football they have played. Talking about the era of the previous coach Jurgen Klopp, if you take a look, he was too aggressive, playing a riskier kind of football, and in pursuit of scoring more goals. But here, if you talk about the Slot, he is quite defensive, cautious about his approach, and so far in this season, in 8 matches, they have conceded just 3 goals and kept 5 clean sheets. On average, if you talk about this season, they have conceded 0.38 goal per match, and last season it was around 1.08. So you can see the difference between the approach of the Liverpool in the last season and this season. So it's going to be difficult for Arsenal because they are struggling with their defense, injury to the key players. Martin Odegaard is injured, and apart from that, Bukayo Saka has not played the last 2 fixtures. Koloferi is too injured. So all in all, most importantly, William Saliba, their defender, is also not playing. So it's a big jolt for the Arsenal. So definitely, we can say that, as you mentioned, Arsenal is going into this match as underdogs.
Definitely, Narayan. You've just mentioned that many players are injured, and still, but as a matter of fact, this particular encounter, like I said, brings happiness to every football fan in the entire world. We'll have to wait and see which side will the wind blow. Thank you so much for your analysis. We leave it there. In football, Barcelona's Robert Lewandowski scored a quick-fire second-half double to set the leaders on course for a 4-0 thrashing of Real Madrid in stunning Clásico victory in La Liga on Saturday. Real were in control of the game from early on, but became frustrated as they wasted several chances before Polish strikers silenced the Bernabeu crowd with 2 successive goals in the 54th and 56th minute. Real tried to get back into the game, but Barca killed them off with 2 more goals. The 17-year-old Yamal became the youngest Clásico scorer in the 77th minute, and captain Rafinha scored final goal in the 84th. With this victory, Barcelona extended their lead at the top of the points table. Saudi Arabia has reappointed Frenchman Hervé Renard as manager to replace Roberto Mancini, the Gulf country's national team announced on Saturday. The 56-year-old, who was in charge of the Saudis from 2019 to 2023, takes over from Italian Mancini, who left the position on Thursday by mutual agreement after 14 months in the job. His contract runs until the end of 2025 with an option to extend through the 2027 Asian Cup. Renard had left his job with the Saudis to lead France's women's team at the World Cup and Paris 2024 Olympics. Paris Saint-Germain has decided to further appeal in its dispute with Kylian Mbappe to court after the French Football League's governing body ruled in favour of the France skipper on Friday and ordered the Ligue 1 champions to pay him, in fact, $60 million.
Kylian Mbappe's departure from PSG earlier this year was one of the biggest moves in football history as he left the French side for his dream for playing for Spanish club Real Madrid. The deal became controversial as the World Cup winner departed the club on a free transfer, receiving nothing in exchange. In recent months, both parties have regularly met at various judicial levels over a reported settlement that's still pending. Let's understand the cause of the dispute between Mbappe and PSG. In June 2024, Mbappe joined Real Madrid on a free transfer, ending a year-long wait. Mbappe was with PSG for more than 7 years, scoring 256 goals for the club. During his transfer, PSG argued that the 25-year-old had agreed to waive the sum in August 2023. However, Mbappe's camp asserts that no formal agreement was ever reached and the owed amount remains outstanding. Now, Mbappe believes that PSG still owes him approximately $60 million. On October 15, the National Joint Appeals Commission heard both parties and delivered its verdict. The commission ruled in favor of Mbappe and ordered the French champions to pay him $60 million. PSG said it would be forced to bring the case before the competent courts while still trying to find an amicable solution with Mbappe. A PSG spokesperson said the club hopes these basic commitments will simply be respected, knowing that it will be forced to have the player's bad faith judged by the competent court if he regrettably seeks to pursue this incomprehensibly damaging dispute for himself and for French football further. Legal experts suggest that without concrete evidence on PSG's part to support their claim of a waiver, the case is likely to continue leaning in Mbappe's favor. However, the process may extend further if PSG chooses to pursue all appeals. With agency inputs, Faiz Khan's report for DD India.
Olympic champion Qinwen Zhang won the Pan-Pacific Open in Tokyo on Sunday, for her third title of the year, beating Sofia Kenin 7-6, 6-3 in the final. China's Zhang kept her cool to edge a tight first set despite 2 rain delays before pressing home her advantage to take second comfortably. The win extended Zhang's impressive run of form this year after she became the first Chinese player to win an Olympic singles tennis gold in Paris. Earlier, she won the Palermo Open and finished runners-up in Wuhan and at the Australian Open. She puts an end to title drought that stretches back more than 4 years. Manika Batra scripted Indian table tennis history at the WTT Champions Montpellier 2024 tournament in France. Though Batra lost 3-0 to China's Qian Tengyai in quarters on Saturday, she left Montpellier as the first Indian table tennis player to make the top 8 in WTT Champions tournament. Batra achieved the feat following a 3-1 upset victory over the world number 14 Bernadette Zotz of Romania. World number 21 Tian Yi, however, proved too difficult of an opponent for 30th ranked in Batra to overcome in the quarterfinals. The 20th edition of the Jazzmandu Music Festival is being organized across Kathmandu Valley, celebrating international cultural interaction, promoting tourism and educating locals on different genres of music. The festival will end on October 30th with international jazz bands from the US, Spain, Australia, Switzerland, Germany and local Nepali bands playing jazz for music lovers. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.